Hi, I'm Matt, and this is Procrastination Garage. Welcome. It's Tuesday morning around 9:30 a.m. and we're leaving town, headed to the cabin. Haven't been in a month, thereabouts. I don't know. It's been a while. I spent yesterday afternoon packing up lots of material for projects. How much of it will I get to? Hard to say. But anyway, looking forward to a few days away. Of course, I'm going to be Hot Wheel hunting on the way down there, which means won't get there until probably nearly 3 o'clock this afternoon. But hey, it is what it is. Made it to the turnoff, almost to the cabin. It's a little after 2 o'clock. And we made it. It's Wednesday, early afternoon, just coming up on 1 p.m. And frankly, I'm having a hard time getting myself motivated to do anything today. But we're going to change that right now. We're going to work on something. One of the ongoing projects at the cabin is this RV refrigerator. Now, going back in time, there was a smaller RV refrigerator here at the cabin that my stepdad had installed when the cabin was built. It was much simpler, and although it would run off 110 volts, he never had it hooked up for that. He had it hooked to run off of a propane tank. Well, this one here will run off a propane or 110, but regardless of which one is running off of, it needs a 12 volt input. And that's what that little box down there for. Now, I pulled that out of the same camper that I pulled the RV refrigerator out of. And right now, that is providing my 12 volt power. Now, there's just a little circuit board that requires the 12 volts and maybe the interior light on the inside. So now I've been trying to figure out how many amps this draws from the 12 volt side. Looking at my motorhome, it looked like it was a 10 amp fuse that was powering the refrigerator. And I just now pulled out the thing here that was with one in the camper, and it is showing a 15 amp fuse powering the furnace and the refrigerator light. So, okay, so somewhere in the 10 amp draw range sounds about right, maybe even less than that. Now, the problem is, for this thing to convert 110 to 12 volt, it draws a lot of power from my jackery, and I don't like it. So I was looking for a different solution. I went on Amazon and I found this 110 volt, 120 volts, whatever, and it provides 12 volts, and I think it provides that 10 amps, and I think that's enough. And I'm guessing this is a lot less draw overall than that big thing. So we're going to go ahead and wire this in right now and test it and see if that'll do what we need it to do. And then the next step is getting the gas hooked up to the fridge freezer. See the red and the black wire? That's the positive and negative for the new 12 volt power supply. Now, a bonus win, I had not checked the gas line, same fitting that was on the other refrigerator. So I've got it screwed on here. I need to tighten it up and then hook some gas up to the outside. We can actually maybe test the gas here in a few minutes. Here's the moment of truth for the 12 volts. Hit the power button. All right. Waiting for the AC to kick on. And it's on. All right, in theory, it's working. Now, we don't know. We're going to have to let it run for a little bit to make sure that that thing is providing power all the time. Doesn't get burned up or something, I don't know. But let's go ahead and hook a gas bottle up to the outside. I've got the bottle installed. I've got the regulator hooked up to it and tightened. I've got the gas valve opened. We're just going to let it sit for 10-15 minutes and see if we smell any gas. I'm not worried about smelling gas out here. I'm sure that's a good seal. I'm more concerned about inside where it's hooked to the fridge. All right, this is a recreation. So I waited about 10 minutes and I came over and smelled to see if I smelled any gas. I didn't. So then I came over, pressed the auto button, it goes to gas, and then hear that, the igniter, and then it lit. And so now the gas is burning, and how refrigerators work, I don't know, but there's a flame back there somewhere doing something. So like I said, this is a recreation. The first time I did it, the igniter went off, I don't know, probably like 30 times before it finally caught. But that was for the gas to get up in the line. Anyway, so I've run it for about 10 minutes. What I'm noticing is that back in there, I can smell burnt gas. There's no way for the gas exhaust to escape right now. I do have these vents on the outside, but when I pulled the old refrigerator out, I put a piece of plywood over the inner holes to keep the air from coming in there. I think they're just held on with a handful of screws. I'm going to go ahead and remove them and see what that does for me. I'm a little concerned about the upper vent. If you look through the owner's manual and everything of installation instructions, it's supposed to vent out the top, which would be like way up there, which is impossible. This vent here may not be quite high enough. I may need to reroute or do something, but let's see what it does for now. Can you see daylight back there? Yeah, I've got the vents unplugged. I should have taken the video before I pushed the refrigerator all the way back in. But right now, it's all the way in place. I've got it turned on. Just gonna let it run a while, see what happens. Just not sure about the venting out the back. And then the clearances on this refrigerator, when installed, it's like 0 inches all the way around. Top, bottom, sides, back. What I don't know, though, is there supposed to be some kind of metal backing at the back, top, sides, some kind of heat shielding? I don't really know. I need to go back and look, see if I can find more data. Also need to check the camper that's down on the lower property, take a look inside and see what kind of, metal there was in there, if anything, just because the key is we don't want to burn the cabin down. And then we don't want gases coming inside the cabin here. That problem is easier to solve, but again, it's the heat issue. I don't want to burn the place down. All right, everybody, we're several minutes into the video, so do me a favor, hit the like button or the dislike button. Please leave a comment, subscribe, and tell all your friends. Thank you. So I monitored the refrigerator for about an hour while I was in the cabin, checked, didn't see where anything was getting too hot or anything bad was going on. So I decided to come out in the yard and maybe start another project. So there's the entry gate to get onto the property. This is an area right next to the entry gate, and there's no fence. The property has no fence all the way around it. And in a perfect world, it would be fenced. So I'm going to try and kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to make what they call a dead hedge. I don't know if that's really a word. That's what I'm calling it. So what I've done is I've taken some T-posts and I pounded them into the ground. First one is right next to this post that the fence is on. They're sitting about 4 feet tall, and those two are separated by about 2 feet apart. And then if you go off that way about 9 feet, I've got two more, and again spaced about 2 feet apart. And go beyond that, there's two more. I don't know if you can see them up through there. Two more, and out through there. So the goal is to take 4-foot chicken wire and attach it to the inside here and go from post to post and do it to both posts. So there'll be a 2-foot area in between the two pieces of chicken wire. And the goal will be all these dead branches and stuff, and anytime I come up with more dead branches, I will just drop them in there, and the idea is to build up a 4-foot fence out of yard waste. Sound reasonable? It's about 5 p.m. and I'm just getting ready to jump in the truck and head to town and buy some chicken wire. They've got it at Home Depot. I think it's 45 bucks a roll. I'm gonna go ahead and buy 3 rolls to start and see how far I get with that. So some may question, up here in the woods with all the fire danger, do I really want to build a fence that itself is a fire danger? That's a good question. I don't think it's really a problem. Because again, the whole area could be a fire danger if it gets set on fire. And right now there's a whole lot of stuff down on the ground that is a fire danger. See these trees right here, even though the tops of them are still alive, all the branches down below are dead. So, in a healthy forest, a fire comes through, burns all the low stuff, the big trees survive, and we go on our merry way. The catastrophic fires occur when the trees are able to catch fire because there's so much undergrowth. So I think as a long-range plan, cleaning up the ground branches and stuff and the low-hanging branches is probably going to decrease the fire risk more than adding a dead hedge around the property. And who knows how far I'm going to get. It's 7 acres. So for me to get all the way around is going to take a long time. So just a start. You know, really the worst fire danger will probably be areas right up there like along the road where there is some low-hanging branches that I don't really want to cut back, because cutting branches back close to the road makes better visibility into the cabin, and I don't really want people looking in on the cabin. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go down and buy some fencing. It's around 6:15 p.m. Just finished shopping at Home Depot. Picked up 3 rolls of the chicken wire. So let me tell you, Home Depot shopping here in College Place, 6 o'clock at night, what a dream, man. Got the store all to yourselves. I'm going to have to remember that. All right, head back to the cabin. Well, I'm not going to go straight back. Made a stop at McDonald's for a Diet Coke. I'm taking a bit of a sightseeing detour. We're headed up the South Fork of the Walla Walla River. I grew up in the town of Milton Freewater, at least my formative teenage years, and I used to spend a lot of time up here. My aunt and uncle lived up this road. At the end of the road is a park and start of a motorcycle trail, hiking trail. A few years ago there was big floods up here, and I haven't been up here since then. So anyway, kind of wanted to come up and take a look and check out the river, and then there's a way we can go up and over a dirt road, hill, and come out on Lincoln Mountain Road and come up on top above our cabin. So that's what the goal is. So it's just about 7 o'clock. This little detour probably means don't get back to the cabin until around 9 o'clock tonight. But you know what? Who cares? We are nearing the end of the road up here, and it's a pretty area up here. The valley starts getting really tight, and I don't know. I just remember this area when I came up here as a kid. This is Harris Park, and it's kind of a campground in here. See, there were some people camped over there. Seemed like that's kind of the caretaker place right there, I think. It's changed a lot since last time I was up here. This was gravel. Got a little picnic area over there. We've gone out the other side of Harris Park, and the road is turned to gravel. I'm not sure whose land this is, if this is state land or Forest Service. Well, that's a change from last time I was here. You used to be able to drive up further. What's really sad here, no motor vehicles. This used to be a good place to dirt bike ride. Man, oh man, I didn't know they closed it off. It's been a few years since I've been up here. Wow. This area here used to be the parking area at the end of the road. Right back there is a little bridge, and you come across, and then all this area was kind of open for parking, and then you could hike out the other end of this. That there was the start of the trail, and it runs up. You can actually take it all the way up on top and come out at Target Meadows, I think. I know, Target Meadows means nothing to most of you folks. Target Meadows is a place up on top of Tollgate, well beyond my place, higher up on the mountain. I've never done it. It was a motorcycle trail. I've hiked, well, there's a sign right here that says where intersections to some of these trails are, Burnt Cabin Trail. Anyway, up this river, going back in the old days when I was a teenager, you used to be able to drive four-wheel drives up this river, and there's some cabins that are about 5 miles up, and the cabins belong to, I call him my great uncle, but he was actually my stepdad's uncle, and he and his son had cabins up there. And like I said, we used to be able to drive up there. You had to cross the river. At one time there were something like 13 or 14 river crossings, and over the years they did away with that. Last time I came up here, four-wheel drives are not allowed to come up here. That's been in effect for, I don't know, 20, maybe going on 30 years now. See, they still got restrooms out here. Sign says they're closed, but the doors are unlocked. They're in actually pretty good shape. Anyway, so I used to come up here ride motorcycles. Motorcycle trail, you didn't have to cross the river. It ran on one side of the river, just kind of went up high on the bank sometimes. So things are a lot different. I would like to hike up to the cabins, check them out. The last time I made that hike, probably 10 years ago or so, and cabins were fine. They've changed hands. I don't know who owns them. In fact, there were a couple of four-wheel drives parked up there that are just kind of landlocked. They got no way of getting them out. I don't think they run anymore, which is too bad. I don't know. That's for another day. I would love to do that hike again. Obviously, you don't want to start it at 7 o'clock at night. I mentioned there were river crossings. This is where you came out of the river at the very first crossing. Way back when, and I'm talking late 70s, this bridge here was actually only a footbridge. So you had to go through the river if you wanted to get across with a four-wheel drive. Right down there is where you went. That was leading into the first river crossing. You know, they blocked it years ago, and brush has all grown up. I mean, again, we're talking late 1970s. Headed back to the truck now. So, the first time I crossed that river, I don't know, great uncle and uncle both had old Dodge power wagons, like military surplus power wagons. One was in pretty good shape, had no problems getting up and down through all the river crossings. The other one, not a real good runner. That one, it sometimes died. Battery wouldn't start it. It was a real mess. Anyway, made the trip several times in both those. And also went through the first river crossing in, I think it was a Chevy Blazer from the late 1970s. The guy had bigger tires on it. We came up here camping one time. I remember crossing the river in it with him. That was pretty exciting. I never crossed it in any of my own rigs. Back then I was a motorcycle guy, so I didn't do river crossings. Too bad, I always wanted to. So this area is closed to motorcycles and other motorized vehicles. I don't agree with it, but that being said, this area right here, you know, they'd have to do something. It's only good for hiking. So apparently this was the road and it washed out on this corner here. I don't remember exactly what it looked like, but it must have just hung tight to this side of the river and gone around, and it washed away. So all that's left right now is a little hiking trail. They used to always stock this river with rainbow trout, so fishing up here was always great. My stepdad would come up here and fish a lot. I came up a few times and did it. You know, he'd get off work, jump in the pickup, drive up here, fish. Back then the limit was something like 10 trout, and get his limit, take them home. Or even sometimes Mom and I came up, he'd catch the fish, we'd cook them up, fry them over a fire, eat them right here on the spot. Yeah, good times. So long ago. Got a lot of blackberries in here and they're blooming. Won't be long, they'll be putting out some fruit. You know what they say, you can't go back. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, certainly this area, so much has changed. It truly breaks my heart to see how the access here has been lost and restricted. Just turned up Lincoln Mountain Road. This will take us all the way up on top of Tollgate. Yeah, it'll be kind of a rough ride, I suppose, in this 1-ton pickup. It's all right, we got time. Looking across the Walla Walla River Valley. It's a lot of wheat field out there. We continue to gain elevation and the scenery's changing, starting to see some trees. This road is maintained better than Baskin Mountain Road, which basically is just over on that ridge over there. I've been on it in recent years and it's a tough one in this truck. This road actually has not been too bad in this truck. Made it to the tree line. So we're almost to the end of the road. We'll be hitting pavement here in about 5 minutes, I think. It's Thursday, a little after noon time. So let's get started on this fence project. So I bought 3 of these. So let me get this unwrapped and let me get it put up, start putting it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, it's a little after 2 o'clock. What can I say? Time has kind of gotten away from me. I've got one 50-foot section completely up, and I'm starting on the second one. Here's what it looks like from the inside, and there's what it looks like from the outside. Honestly, I'm not real happy with the way this fencing stretches out. You can see I've got some waves in it. It is what it is. Probably once it's full of yard waste and stuff, it won't be noticeable. Maybe it'll bow it out a little bit. Here's what it looks like so far from out on the road. I've got the fencing on this side is stretched out to 50 feet ends right there. And I'm just starting to stretch out the inner one. You can see the roll of it there. Got a ways to go. Basically, I'm using wire, wrapping about 3 places on each fence post. The wire is pretty, I didn't bring up any real good heavy duty wire. It may break. Worst case, I'll come back and rewire it. We'll see how it holds. Anyway, let me get finished up. It's just coming up on 3 o'clock. I've got both 50-foot rolls stretched out. Still have one 50-foot roll left. Not going to worry about it this trip. So let's start doing some cleanup. Let's see if we can get some of these branches here. But more importantly, how about down the driveway? Let's get it cleaned up. I figured I better stop and show you guys some of the raking action so you'd believe me. So that area there has been raked. Rake in this direction. Load it in the wheelbarrow. Hauling it up to there, lifting it over. And then I started this area here, raking back this way. And then I still got to do on the other side of the fence there. But we're making progress. Check it out. Looks good, right? So, are you wondering what my criteria is for raking in the dirt like this? Trying to get as many sticks as possible. Trying to get as many pine cones as possible, but not dwelling on pine cones. You can see there's pine cones, but not much in the way of sticks. So I broke my rake, but would you believe I broke it on like the next to last time I was actually doing a raking motion with it? I knew I was getting close. Got this area outside the gate raked as well. This is all my property here. My property extends over into there. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it doesn't really matter. This road has been here forever. I can't block it. And it's fine. I don't need to. So, how's it looking now that we got some stuff in it? I'm liking it a lot better. That doesn't look too bad, does it? Yeah. Only got this filled up to about halfway. But, you know, there's a lot of sticks in the woods, so there's going to be a lot of branches. But then if I make it all the way around the property, that's going to be a lot of space. I'm not going to get around the property anytime soon. That's a lot of work. Anyway, I think next thing I'm going to do is take down my game cameras and check and see what I've got on them. Yeah, so I didn't get that area cleaned up. I'd hoped to, but between my rake being broke, which is kind of a blessing in disguise, my back is killing me. It's time to wrap up this outside work for the day. There it is, the end of another episode of Procrastination Garage. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Trying to keep it fairly short, just one subject this time, trip to the cabin, and I need to get back to the cabin. So we are now into September, past the first week. Here in the Yakima Valley, it is smoky. There's some wildfires around, not real nice weather. Hope to get back to the cabin here real soon. Hoping to get up the mountains and play with the side-by-side, and they got a bunch of projects to complete here in the shop, so we'll get to it one of these days. Anyway, should be back in a week or so. Remember, my name's Matt. This is Procrastination Garage, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.